Building an aesthetic physique. Currently I'm on this self-improvement, so obviously it's gonna take a few years if you want to do this, but currently I'm on this method and it is kind of tough. Been like 5-6 months taking care of nutrition, of food, of raw power, no supplements, no nothing, just raw protein. So if you don't know me, my name is Liza and I'm a young guy on self-improvement. I'm trying to document my journey through YouTube, trying to build a movement of self-improvement for young men. As I can see, still there's a lot of people who don't really put their own needs first, you know, kind of not taking care of themselves properly. And I've seen a lot of people just having issues with life, especially young people. A lot of parents who don't know how to guide their children, saying, go to uni, go this, study this, become a lawyer. I mean, those are all well-paid jobs and everything, but then you never have your freedom, really. This is not about business, this is not about money, but this is one of the big goals as to maybe attracting women and becoming more confident and climbing the social ladder of, you know, the hierarchy of, in your friends group, there's always going to be a hierarchy. If there's 7 of you, one of you is going to be on the top and one of you is going to be on the bottom, and that's just how it goes. The more social you are, the higher on the ladder that you are. That's how it works. We don't like to see it that way, that's just how it is. So the first key thing that would be in here is actually nutrition, because that's where it all starts. If you're a kid, if you're 15, 16 or maybe 18 or 19 and you're kind of fat, first of all you want to get rid of that fatness. You want to get rid of that fat because that's basically built on shit food. And when you get rid of that, then you want to start building a body and you want to maybe bulk with the healthy food that's going to build healthier fat. There's differences, obviously. So nutrition is really important from the get-go, from the start, from the moment you were born, because I've seen even in the baby fucking formulas they put a lot of shit that's not supposed to be there. Basically, eating garbage food can make you obese. It's made from bad ingredients. It's easily accessible. There's a McDonald's like 5 minutes away from here. There's also like a grocery store that you can go to and get like a steak, some vegetables, and cook it for yourself. Obviously, like I said, it's easily accessible. It's caloric, it's greasy, it's unhealthy overall. Therefore, you should probably consider your choices if you want to build an aesthetic body and be attractive to women mostly. You don't want to get compliments from guys. Basically, try to cook your own food. I can suggest maybe eating steak often, meat, some vegetables. You can avoid bread if you want, spaghetti, macaroni, so on. Like carbs, try to eat maybe low carbs. Don't eat many carbs. Also, what it does is kind of makes your face bloaty, you know. When you eat more steak, even if you're not working out, it's gonna make your face more lean for some reason. I don't know why, but when you eat carbs, it kind of puffs up your face. I don't know if you've seen, but it's not. I'm not like saying this as a bad thing. But when you look at, for example, Indians, when you see a video of Indians, usually their face is like puffy. When you see Chinese, Japanese people, Asian people, usually their faces are kind of chubby and choppy, you know, like kind of like a circle, you know. That's because they eat a lot of noodles. They eat fucking dumplings. You know, there's meat, but it's in a complete like a carb fucking bomb. So eating carbs makes your face kind of chubby. You know, maybe I'm not that lean as well, but I'm getting there. So that's nutrition. You should really take care of it because that's the first thing that you actually start with. That's where your whole life starts from. Second is working out. This is where it all connects, nutrition and working out. When you're working out, you can focus on building muscle, but there's a thing basically I'd like to say first. The bigger you are, men will compliment you more. But the more lean and muscular you are, women will compliment you more. Basically, I don't know, like when you are big and when you're strong, men like to compliment you. They're like, yo, you're so big, you're so strong, whatever. But when you're that big, you're kind of unattractive to women, especially if you're like just a muscle brute, you know. Even though there's a lot of girls who actually go to the gym now, like there's just more and more girls are going to the gym, and obviously they want a man who has more muscle than them, and that basically that standard is going up and up and up and up and up. And when you ask how much muscle do I want, the answer is always more muscle, but not too much. There's this thing called, I don't know if you heard the V taper. I'm gonna show you a picture. It's basically from the waist up, it's like the lats that spread out like this. and create a V-shaped letter, V letter shape on your body, and then you have your arms and shoulders and whatnot. And basically you also have to build out your delts and your shoulders and your middle shoulders, just to have that nice oblique. So to work out, I've listed muscles that you might want to focus on more than other muscles. I mean, obviously I haven't listed chest, but chests, I haven't listed them here, but I've actually talked about it. Honestly, chests are important. So muscles to work out, let's go. First, this is the V taper. I want to show you, like, you can see the letter V, you can see where the lats are kind of spreading out. If you take a look, here's the lats, they're spreading out this way, and then there's your shoulder and there's your middle shoulder. These are the delts, and then you are basically, you know, obviously you need to work on the forearms as well, because it looks kind of shit when you're huge but your forearms are small, but they eventually get bigger and bigger once, like, when you're working out. But what you want to focus on, these are not that hard to build up, the middle shoulder, but these kind of are. So basically you want to, I've talked about it, but you want to get this V taper. You obviously want to be slim in the waist, but you want to have this V that just like spreads out. It's basically this kind of physique is like when you see a woman with an hourglass body shape, or like she has, I don't know, big ass and like a tiny waist, for example. That's basically like when you see that girl, you wanna fuck, you have that urge. That's what women actually feel when they see this type of body style. Though, as you can see, you obviously want to look like this, why wouldn't you? So yeah, if you want to look exactly like this probably took like 5 years to build, which is crazy, but still, don't give up. Obliques, basically you want to attain that V taper that I just talked about, the V shape, because that's really attractive. For abs, try not to work out too much on abs. You can work abs, but try not to increase the size of your waist, like the size down here, the external obliques, the size of the waist. Try not to make it bigger, because if you do, you're going to lose that slight V taper that you have right there. The deltoids make you kind of wider, you know, this shoulder. When you work out the shoulder and the deltoids, the side, you look very, very wider. For example, there's a hip to lat ratio or hip to chest, and there's a hip to shoulder ratio. Now, if you're kind of fat, you're usually going to have a bigger shoulder width than your hips, depends how fat you are. But usually most fat people have this like just straight, or have even bigger hips than they're supposed to have the lats. So yeah, you want to get this kind of shape. You want to be muscular, but you want to also be lean. That's what women like. Kind of, if you go overboard with training and eating, you're gonna get too bulky. And I understand that if you want to bulk for the season, for the winter season, that's fine, but it's June, so yeah, you don't want to do that. I'd probably suggest, if you're starting right now, probably to just lose as much weight as you can. Go to the gym, take care of the nutrition, and slowly you're going to, the healthiest way to lose weight is to actually have patience and take your time with nutrition and take your time with training. There's nothing better than health, like naturally going down in weight. If you're going to like drink some of these medications for losing weight, that's just gonna like mess up with your brain and it's gonna make it worse. Also, bad food does have an effect on your brain and on your social skills, I guess. It's kind of weird, but it happens. It's just the way it is. So try to eat as natural as you can to keep that straight and sharp mind. So workout routines. Workout routines is not really a big thing. I suggest working like 5 days a week, working out. I personally don't follow through with this. I just work out remembering what I worked out prior. So for example, if I do Monday legs, and then I do Tuesday I do chest, and then I for example on Wednesday I take a day off, and then Thursday and Friday I do back and maybe arm day, and then and Saturday I do maybe another leg day. It doesn't matter, just like try to be consistent. On Sunday I'll also have a day off, for example. So that's completely fine. You know, if you're doing like 5 days, 4 days, 3 days a week, it doesn't matter. But I want to tell you that if you are like working out 1 day a week, you know, that's a huge jump from not working out. But if you do 2 days a week, that's also a big jump. 3 days as well. 4 is already like a small jump, and then 5 days, like 4 and 5 days working out, you can't even tell the difference. Like if you have a person who worked out 4 days a week and 5 days a week for a year, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them two. So try to keep it from 2 to 5 days a week, and it doesn't like it really doesn't matter. Just try to be consistent with the workouts and don't go for like a month without working out. That's one of the things you probably want to take care of. So we're on chest. Working out chest, usually people do bench pressing. Bench pressing is just like the default for chest. It's healthy and it's good, and it's for a big muscle group. So also you get your arms to work and your shoulders to work a little bit, but mostly the chest. Also, inclined chest is really good because you want to get that fuller upper chest. You want to get it kind of fuller, you know, to blend in with the body, with the shoulders. Incline bench is really important to get that fuller chest, to get like a nice transition, to not have it like it's like popping out, you know. But when you have that fuller chest, it kind of blends in perfectly with the rest of the top body. That's for chest. That's basically it. It's simple. Lats, working out lats, usually lat pull down while sitting. While sitting, you just do the lat pull down and try to focus on the muscle itself. Find it on the internet. You can have pictures, you can have videos. It's really simple. You can lay down on a bench that is inclined, and you can put 2 dumbbells down, and you can just pull it like that. Just pull it. You can also do pull-ups. If you can't do pull-ups, you can do assisted pull-ups. If you don't have a place to do assisted pull-ups, then you can just go hang on a bar and just lift yourself as much as you can, and then do it for like 10 times. As far as you can, go down, pull up again, and keep doing it until you're tired. It's going to activate your muscles, and you will kind of get like sore muscles definitely from that, even if you're not completely finishing the pull-up. Biceps and triceps. I suggest having a dedicated arm day for arms, for our arms. I assume if you don't use supplements, if you don't use, I don't know, any boosts that you should never use, like testosterone boosts, tren, if you are using those, then you can do bench press and you're gonna grow your biceps. I try to stay natural. If you want to stay natural, then you need a dedicated arm day for them to grow well. So for these, you can have tricep push down, you can have bicep curls, tilted bicep curls, like on a bench. Just put your arm like that and then do an inclined overhead tricep curls. It's all simple. Just find it on the internet and you can use it. But I'm just talking about the muscle groups. I want you to know the muscle groups that will give you that kind of aesthetic physique when you're working on it, you know. Not focus on these just a little bit more than other muscle groups. For example, on the lats and on the shoulders and deltoids. That's kind of the thing you want. Okay, shoulders and middle shoulders. Basically, they will give you that good upper like look, you know. Especially, you should also focus on the neck, because you don't want to have a skinny neck. If you're a bodybuilder and I take a picture of you just from your neck up, like your neck and your face, and your neck is thin, then you're gonna look like a crack addict. So try to work out your neck. Put it somewhere in the once a week, doesn't matter. Shoulder press, simple middle shoulder pulls like this. You take the dumbbells and you just pull it like that. There's many workouts for this, you can find it online easily. Deltoids and abs. I've put them together because there's not many things to say about them. It's basically deltoids would give you that wide look, you know, while abs would give you basically the sexy core look, like the women really like. You know, if you're really skinny but you don't have any like built out muscle, you're still going to get that abs, you know. People are still going to be able to see your abs, and they're undeveloped. Even if you can see them, they're completely undeveloped. But when they are developed and when they are revealed as developed, they look super fucking sexy, especially to women. When you have that kind of wider deltoids, and when you have that shirt that is kind of tight around the bicep and it's loose around the waist, and it kind of has that, you know, like that V taper, it looks so attractive. You can work out abs often, but I would say try not to go too crazy, because you don't want to get that wide hip, you know. You don't want to get the wider hip You don't want to do, you can do legs, but don't do too much legs, and don't do too much like side, on the side shit, that you don't get your, hips too wide, because you don't need to get your hips too wide. You're trying to look aesthetic, you're trying to look good. Shoulder raise for deltoids, shoulder raises like the lateral raises like that, bent over rows. You have upright row as well for delts. For middle shoulder, like I told you, like this. For abs, it's simple, like heel tap, crunches, pull up leg. Like you go on do a pull up and you just lift your legs up and down. You can find this shit online, but this is what I'm just trying to tell you, the muscle groups that are important. So losing fat, like I said, if you are obese or fat, I would suggest first trying to lose that fat to be able to put on more healthier fat from other foods. If you have eaten shit food and garbage food, usually all that fat is stored and just kept there. It's not really replaced, because you keep eating. It's not really replaced, it's just maybe added more and more and more. So our important thing is to actually get rid of that fat, burn it, use it for energy, for whatever. Go for a run, do cardio. You can also go for calorie deficits, but I would suggest not going too crazy on it. I remember I recently did autophagy, and it's basically like fasting for a few days, not eating anything except for drinking water, like not eating absolutely anything. And I achieved it, and I was pretty happy. And I basically, for some reason, I had no appetite for a few days. I was kind of depressed. It's kind of shit. But either way, I had no appetite, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this, because I haven't been on autophagy for months. So I was thinking I would do that, and I did it, and I'm kind of happy about it that I did it. And I'm trying to just eat less in a day. For example, 2 meals are max. If I eat more than 2 meals, that's already a cheat day. So I try to eat 1 or 2 meals depending on the size of the meal and the time that I eat it, and the time that I'm going to the gym, and the time that I'm going to make these videos and edit them. Building muscle. When you're building muscle, I would suggest having slight calorie surplus. So if you've already lost the weight, if you've lost the fat, if you don't have fat, if you just want to build muscle, I would suggest always to be in that building zone, to always have some, like a bit of calorie surplus. I suggest you actually track your calories. I know it's kind of sounds stupid to track something like this, but get like an app that can track calories and just go crazy. Like eat something and then track the calories of the things that you've eaten. Try to track it and be in a slight calorie surplus. That's what I suggest. Like the workout regime I showed, under suggestion of 5 days a week or less, 2 to 5 days, doesn't matter, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days a week, it doesn't really matter, because the difference between, for example, 4 and 5 days in the gym is not even. You cannot see the difference. From 3 days to 5 days you can probably see a little bit of difference, but if you're going to constantly change, maybe 1 week go 5 days, 1 week go 3 days, you're going to be just fine. You're not going to have a single problem with anything. So yeah, you can really have any workout regime that you want if you're consistent, but I would suggest training these muscle groups just slightly more. So the muscle groups I want to show you, like this is the end of slide, whatever. The muscle groups I would want to show you is shoulders and deltoids, bicep, triceps, abs, and definitely even middle shoulders, even though in middle shoulders you don't really have to do much, because when you're working out deltoids, you're going to affect the middle shoulders as well, which are these are the deltoids on the side, these are the middle shoulders, and these are just the shoulder, like the whole thing. You want to get that, that nice thing, and on the deltoid as well, that kind of popped out, to get that nice look. Yeah, deltoids, biceps, triceps, abs, those things are the most important, even though that's basically the whole muscle group of the body. But on the back, other muscles, you're going to work them out eventually with all of these, but I just want you to but when you're working out, when you're doing back, focus just a little bit more on the lats, okay? Focus just a bit more on the lats and a bit more on deltoids, or maybe middle shoulder, or maybe tricep, or get like an arm day and just go for arms. for like to go for like one day, just go forearms, biceps and triceps completely all day. That's your workout, and that would kind of be it. I've shown you everything, told you about everything that I kind of know, that I kind of do. I don't do everything of this, but I should be doing everything. I kind of don't. But yeah, losing fat, building muscle, that's what we want to do. You're gonna get that aesthetic body. That depends, you know, like people say, there's these motherfuckers that say like, hey, it's all about genetics. You can never maybe achieve some sort of physique that you want to achieve, but that doesn't play any role in your life. Obviously it does. If you have good genetics, you can maybe build the body a bit faster, maybe it looks a little bit better than someone else's, but that's not going to change anything. If you have that aesthetic physique and you have that V taper and you have everything that you've worked for, that's what you need. You don't need good fucking genes, genetics. Maybe you're beautiful, maybe not in the face. That can be a big plus if you are. But that's for another video, and that's for looks maxing. But I don't have any beer, so I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. Anyway, that's it. Peace.